He's not with us tonight, but he's with us in spirit. Thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Shmuley Rosenstein. I'm the acting chairman of the CHJCC and Vaad Hakohol. I'll begin by briefly outlining the program for this evening. First, you'll hear an update from the board about the work we've done over the past 18 months and our vision for the future. Next, we'll be introduced to the new CEO of the CHJCC, Rabbi Mendel Morazov, who will share an update on the organization. After that, we'll hear from Rabbi Meir Bookchin, the executive director of the Vaad Hakohol, who will speak about his work with the Kashrus and the Rabbanim. We'll then conclude with a Q&A session where you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. I'd like to begin with a brief thought from last week's parsha, Parshas Vayechi. The Torah tells us that Yaakov Avinu wanted to reveal to his children when Mashiach would come. He says, "Hey asu agida lechem," gather and I will tell you. But then he moves on to other things. The simple explanation is that knowledge was hidden from him. But there is another explanation. That Yaakov wasn't telling his children when Mashiach would come, but rather how to bring Mashiach. Hey asfu, gather together. The agida, from the word aguda, meaning unity. Be united with one another, that itself will bring Mashiach. One of the core commitments this Vaad made when we came in was unity. We committed that we would not be part of any machlokes, and that we would work to bring Achdus to Crown Heights. Baruch Hashem, I can say with confidence, this is a commitment that we have kept. I want to take a moment to thank the 5 people sitting next to me, Beryl Hildesheim, Mayor Nu, Yitzi Kamen, Zalman Friedman, and David Hallen, for the countless hours of volunteer work they put in to help strengthen this community. It has been truly an honor to work with them. While we may occasionally have disagreements or differences of opinion, we have always remained united. Some of you may wonder, what is it that we've accomplished? So allow me to tell you. When we were elected, we came into an organization that had experienced years of infighting, external conflicts, or long periods of inactivity. We focused on restructuring the organization and giving it a strong foundation to lead effectively for years to come. I want to repeat some of that. The organization, when we came in, was on very shaky ground. It took a lot of work to stabilize the organizations, and in many ways, the organizations look today very different than they looked just a year and a half ago. I want to take a few minutes to highlight some of that restructuring. One of our commitments when we got elected was to improve the CHJCC office itself. If any of you have seen it over the many years that we were located there, you knew that it needs some serious updating. It quickly became clear that the existing space was far too small and split between 2 locations, a setup that was not conducive to success. We immediately began searching for a proper central location that would be welcoming, functional, and allow room for growth. Baruch Hashem, we found a beautiful central location at the corner of Kingston and Lefferts. After a short construction period, we moved in. Anyone who has visited the new office can see the tremendous upgrade it represents. Before moving on, I want to publicly recognize and thank Rabbi Eli Cohen for everything he has done for this organization. For over 15 years, he poured his heart and soul into it, often as a one-man operation. We are grateful that he remains with us in a leadership role as Director of Advocacy and Public Relations. The board also understood that after many years, the organization needed fresh energy and new ideas. With that in mind, we conducted an extensive search for a CEO who shared our vision of modernizing and expanding the CHJCC. Baruch Hashem, we hired Rabbi Mendel Morazov, who brings many years of nonprofit leadership experience. We are already seeing positive changes and are optimistic about the future. Turning now to the Vaad Hakohol. When we were elected, the Rabbanim had not been fully paid in years. The Kashrus was owed hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the organization was largely inactive. From day one, paying the Rabbanim became an uncompromising priority of ours. Last year, we ran a fundraising campaign that raised $75,000 to specifically pay the Rabbanim. We also hired Rabbi Meir Bukshin to manage the day-to-day operations of the Vaad. Baruch Hashem, the Kashrus is growing and becoming increasingly professional, and one of our proudest accomplishments is that the Rabbanim have been fully paid throughout our entire tenure. This stability allows us to strengthen the Beis Din and move forward toward electing a third Rav. Much work is being done together with the Nitzigim to ensure that such an election can take place properly and b'shalom, and I hope that this year we'll reach that goal. I'd now like to touch on the political and community advocacy that the Vaad does. While not everything can be discussed publicly, the Vaad has made significant strides in building stronger relationships with local elected officials. What may look like photo opportunities to the public often translate into real results for real people. We also maintain an excellent working relationship with the NYPD. For example, before Tishrei, we met with police leadership to coordinate security needs, street closures, Simchas Beis HaSheva, and the nighttime closure of Lefferts Park during Sukkot. After the attack in Sydney, Australia, Deputy Inspector Perez of the 71st personally called me to assure us that extra patrols would be deployed in Crown Heights, particularly around public menorah lightings. Shortly afterward, following a subway attack and a stabbing in Crown Heights, I met with the police commissioner, raised the community's concerns, and invited her to visit Crown Heights. She came the very next day, she met with the victims, listened to our concerns, and committed additional officers to our neighborhood. Regarding community advocacy, when plans emerged for a bike lane on Brooklyn Avenue, despite strong opposition already raised by the CHJCC, the Vaad mobilized community voices and raised our concerns directly with Councilmember Rita Joseph and the mayor's office, resulting in the project being paused. We also stepped in as the liaison for the long-delayed street work on President Street between Albany and Troy by staying in constant contact with the residents, the businesses, and the contractor. The project, from when we got involved, was completed ahead of schedule with minimal disruption. After a serious accident at the dangerous intersection of Rutland and Troy, the Vaad repeatedly advocated with the DOT for a traffic light. I'm happy to report that the work is nearly complete and the light should be operational within the next few weeks. We were also among the leaders in ensuring the Kingsbrook Shul was returned to its rightful owners, including making sure that Rabbi Goldstein from the Shul had the governor's ear when she was here for Sukkot. These are just a few examples of the many issues brought to the Vaad by people who know their concerns will be taken seriously. While we can't always promise success, we can always promise effort. No matter what changes come with the new administration of the mayor, we will always fight for this community. I urge everyone here to make sure you and your families are registered to vote and take their responsibility seriously. We also work closely with many local maistas and do our best to assist whenever possible. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our incredible volunteer organizations, Shmira, Shaimrim, Hatzalah, Chaverim, Chosen, which is under the Vaad Hakohol, and all our tzedakah organizations, as well as fellow Askanim who work tirelessly with us, especially Chanina Sperlin, Yaakov Bierman, and Dvorah Helbersham. Before concluding, I want to acknowledge the many individuals who came before us and dedicated their lives to building Crown Heights. This past Hanukkah, we honored 8 such individuals, one on each night, in a campaign that was Baruch Hashem very successful. I want to say thank you to COLive.com for partnering with us in this campaign. I'm also pleased to announce that the updated CHJCC website, which was another commitment we made, will be launching within the next couple weeks. Thank you again for coming tonight. The work needs more than 6 volunteers to enact all the changes needed. Please continue to partner with us as we take these organizations and this community to the next level, bigger and better than ever before. Thank you. I would now like to call up Rabbi Mendel Morazov, the CEO of the Crown Jewish Community Council.
Does everybody have one? It's a little bit of homework we're going to do. You need more? Thank you, Shmuley, for your very kind words. Thank you to the Vaad, to Rabbanim, to everyone who was involved in this organization, and for the opportunity I have, has wheels, the opportunity I have to be able to serve this community and the Crown Heights Community Council. This is not a formal speech. It's really a check-in of what we've accomplished, of where we were. I don't know where we were, at least where we are, and hopefully where we're going to go. I was going to talk about Vaad Hakohol, but being that Shmuley had said one already, so I'm going to tell you a little story. Years ago in a shtetl, somewhere you could choose your country, choose your neighborhood, there lived a rabbi and a priest, like in every shtetl. The Rav lived on one side, the priest lived on the other side. But they got along, they were close friends. Not only were they friends, their parents. The Rav's father was a Rav in the shtetl, and the Galach's father was a Galach in the shtetl. And this went on for 3 generations. So they were tight, they were friendly. He sold the chametz to him, and he helped him out when he had a shayla and someone shalom bayis, and they had a good, happy relationship. Vayhi hayoim, the priest is getting a little older, and he had to leave for a week. And he was nervous if he's not going to be there on Sunday. That's where his days makes his parnasa. People come to confess. I shouldn't talk about this here, but that's how it works. So he went to the Rav, and he asked the Rav, could you sit in for me? I'm not going to be there Sunday, and there's a galach in the other shtetl that is going to come, and I don't want him to have the job. So if you could just help me out for one Sunday, and no one's even going to know the difference. So the Rav says, well, I mean, I'd love to, but I can't go to the cloister and sit there. It doesn't work. So he said, you know what? He'll hang up a sign in the cloister that if someone has to come for vidui, whatever it is, go to the Rav, and the Rav will take care of you. It's a true story. Anyway, he goes to the Rav. So Sunday morning, yeah, Ivan rolls in. The Rav says, can I help you? He said, yes, I had a rough week. I stole 2 cows, and I did this, and I did that. So I want to do tshuva. So the Rav says, listen, I'm new in this. How much do you pay for this? How does the system work? So he says, it depends on the week. If he steals 1 cow, then he pays 5 rubles, knas or whatever, tzedakah. 2 cows is 10 rubles. And the Rav says, you do this every week? He said, yeah. He says, why can't I make a deal with you? How much do you steal a year? So going forward, you'll prepay now all of your gnevis, and you don't have to come for a year. I'll be okay. And it's a beautiful guy says, you know what? Stimmt. The next guy, and the Rav had a very great day. 10 guys came in, each one with their own averis. He made a nice living. It was a very, very, very good Sunday. And that's over. Anyways, next week, the Gala comes back. He's sitting, no visitors. No one's visiting him. He goes to the Rav and he asks him, what happened last week that no one's coming? He says, oh, I made a deal with them. Why should they come every week for a year? They know what it costs, so we worked out like a plan. So they don't have to come in for a whole year. So the Galach says, you know, we're friends. I know this business better than you. Why didn't I ever think about that? Why is it you that thought about it? So the Rav told him, because you're always busy thinking about the past. I'm always busy thinking about the future. And when you think about the future, things work out different. I'm here today, it's my 11th week. The only thing I could look at in the community council is the future. And I cannot rewrite the past. There was always good, there's always not so good. There's a lot of history. I'm not part of that history, I don't know. I got so many calls and stopped on the streets on what's with this and what's with that. I'd love to help you, I just don't know. What I would like to focus on is the future, but more important is on the individual. We have individuals that come into our office every day. These are the people that I want to focus on. These are the people that we as a community council are actually, our job is to help them. We could put in as many systems as we want, as many programs and protocols as we want, but at the end of the day, it has to work for the people that live here in this neighborhood who need the help that we could give them. In the 11 weeks, I'm here long enough to see certain patterns. I'm here long enough to see pressure points, what works, what doesn't. And I'm here long enough to see what needs improvement. Now, in the papers we just gave out, we have a list. It's basically a report on 2025 with numbers of how many people, how many communities, how many things, how many interactions. These numbers are real, because what we started when I came in is to get every week a report from everybody that works in the organization. And this report tells us how many people they met, how many crises there were, how many fires they had to put out, etc. So these numbers are real. They're actually real numbers. We multiplied it, yes, over 12 months. So the numbers are real, and they're actually undercounted. So when you look at it, you see that we had a serious amount of people that were interacted with the community council, that were helped. We have an average of 300 to 400 interactions a week. Half of them, if not more, are actual visits. Besides the food pantry, that is another whole parsha. What I see and what I learned is that most of the issues we come by is because some people realize their issues or their crisis once it becomes a crisis. And once things become a crisis, sometimes it's a little too late to do something. The flyer, as you see, is not a marketing tool. It's not an ad. There's no ads on there. We're not selling anything. It's a snapshot of reality. Thousands of residents helped, tens of thousands of service interactions, which include food, housing, seniors, victims, utilities, benefits, and these aren't numbers. These are people, families, and seniors. But almost all of it is reactive. We, as a community council, react to the tsaris or problems or issues that people have. Now, the positive reality is we take care of it and we do a lot of good, but it's reactive. The question is, how do we change that? And let me tell you a little story that happened yesterday, and hopefully it'll be concluded tomorrow. An elderly Russian gentleman walks into the office. He's sitting in the front there. He doesn't have an appointment. He doesn't have a receipt. As I said, you know, come, let's have a chat. What's his problem? He and his wife were evicted from their apartment. And they were put up in a homeless shelter on Atlantic Avenue and Nostrand. It's actually a hotel. That's where they put him up. Now, the problem is that he had kosher food, but he had a little fridge. And they're not allowed to have a fridge, so they threw out his kosher food with the fridge. So the only way he'll get kosher food is by getting a letter from a rabbi or from someone that he's Jewish and he needs kosher food. So he schlepped all the way to the community council to get a letter to get kosher food. I said, but who do I write the letter to? He has no clue. So today we spent the day finding out who the letter is, and we actually got the letter out, etc. But I asked him a question: how did you get into a homeless shelter. He's here for 15 years. He says he couldn't afford the rent. And because he couldn't afford rent, it went on, it cycled, and the person ended up in a homeless shelter, happening right here in Crown Heights, in our neighborhood, etc. Chances are he's not the only one. So the honest truth is, we are great at responding to problems. But when there is a problem and we respond many times, it's a little late. Crisis response is very important, but living in crisis mode is not the way to go forward. So we need to shift a little bit. We need to shift a little bit from just being proactive into going into the world of reactive. The goal isn't to replace crisis intervention. We do that. We're supposed to do that. That's our job. But we need to reduce the need of crisis intervention. Fewer emergencies, earlier help, better planning, and just a simple question: did you file your taxes? You'd be surprised how many people come in, they didn't file taxes this year, didn't file taxes last year, didn't file taxes 3 years ago, and they wonder why they can't get benefits, why they can't get food stamps and everything else, because they didn't file their taxes. So it's not that complicated to actually fix big problems if we are organized and proactive. So this really is the area where I believe we have to go. But in order to do that, we need help. We need help from all of the hundreds of people that are here and the thousands that are watching it. No, it must be. We need help. We need to get the message out. Whether it's a campaign we're doing for life insurance, whether it's a campaign we're doing for whatever it is, we find it difficult to communicate with the actual resident of Crown Heights. How do we communicate? Even if you put it online, it's looked at for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 50 seconds, and then there's something else going on. So we need shuls, we need schools, we need WhatsApp groups, we need people to talk about of how we could help people before it turns into a crisis. Refer people early. I'll give you an example. We started a little program for couples. About 10, 15 couples rolled in. Chas and Kala get engaged, they get married. 2 months later, they realize they don't have medical insurance, they don't have this, they don't have that. They come in, it becomes a whole tumult. So I said, why don't we do this before? Before they get married, come in, sit down with someone in the office. Who are you? What do you need? What do you have? What don't you have? And you could avoid so much stress later. All it means is being proactive. Now, if a couple comes in early, you also ask them, and this is a question actually we should ask everybody that walks into our office. Besides food stamps, what else do you need? Do you have a job? Do you have a home? Do you have a this? So we are a last resort almost for people that live here. But the people in the community itself, which I'm sure many do, could help themselves and their community and their neighbors with these simple things. We need volunteers. We need volunteers. Now, to give you a specific place, we're starting a financial literacy campaign. Financial literacy means how much money do you have? How much money could you spend? How much money could you invest? If you don't know how much money you have in your bank account, you don't know what your budget is, then how are you going to go to stage 2? But there's enough people that do this as a living. They're financial planners, but they do it to sell policies. We're looking for people to coach people. Coach people how to build a family budget. Coach, especially young families, how to set up your finances. So there's a beginning. You could build into something. If we don't have that, we're going to go back to the same cycle. We're putting together now a new website. The big objective of this website is to interact the community with us. It'll be easier for intake, easier for services, easier for information, or even referrals. There are things we as a community council cannot do, but others can. So we could refer you to those others to get these things done. We're also launching a job board, which I'm involved in this already for 2 months. One of the challenges here, besides housing, is jobs. And even if people have jobs, it doesn't pay for their rent. That's the reality living in this neighborhood. So every day we get visitors and we get calls of people looking for jobs. And we helped many of them. I could actually say many of them we helped. So we're putting together a real job board run by the community council. If you know someone that needs a job, email is actually jobs@chjcc.org. But more important, if you know an employer that is looking to hire, we need local employers to connect with us. And an employer is not only a business, it's also a school, it's also a shul, it's also anyone who employs people. If there is an employer that's looking for employees, we have those employees. And the more in this we're going to be, we're going to have a lot more for you. So connect with us and let's make it happen. One more thing. New York is a big city. Crown Heights is a small, not small, very powerful and great community in the center of the world, but it's still a few blocks by a few blocks. Most of the decisions that happen in Crown Heights are decided by outside Crown Heights organizations, mostly governments, school boards, whatever the names of all the other boards are. I don't even know yet. I'm learning 4 of them, so I'm going to get to know the rest. We need people to run for those elections and to sit on as many community boards as possible. We will help you. We will guide you. This has to be done by unanimous consent, not by 3 people running and the 4th person who's going to win. It has to be done smart. But the more people we get to sit on local boards, the safer our community is going to be. This is a fact, it's a reality, and there's no other way to do this. And this isn't about politics, of which party we're supporting or not. It's literally very healthy responsibility. If we want to have a community that actually operates as good as everybody wants it to be, we need to invest. And investing is not always money, it's actually input and getting involved in other local boards. So hopefully, I'm going back to my beginning. My focus, at least for now, is very much the individual. To help the individual, get the individual from point A to point B, from where they are to where they have to go. And this could only happen if we do this together. Until now, Crown Heights has been excellent and brilliant in responding. I hope we could reach a level in time where we could be just as brilliant in actually planning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Morozov. Just to touch on one thing he said about the community boards. If you see my status, you saw it yesterday. If not, I could send you the info or you could ask for it. The Brooklyn Borough President just put out yesterday, I think it was, the application for joining the community board. So if something that you feel you could contribute, can you be part of, apply, and the deadline is February 6th, so you have until then to apply. Where is what? Where is this application? You could do it online. It's online. After, yeah. I now want to ask Rabbi Meir Bushin, the Executive Director of the Vaad Hakohol, to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming in. It's an honor for me to work for the Crown Heights people. כאן ציבו השם וסברוכה, שכונה של הרבי מלך המשיח. I started my work about 10 months ago as Executive Director in Vaad Hakohol. I didn't really understood then what it meant, and as of even today, I'm not sure exactly what the real scope of that job is. But one thing we understood is in order to move forward, we have to basically get the finance together and see how we're doing it. I know some of you, but some is new faces for me. I live in Crown Heights about 12 years. I was involved in few businesses before, and right now I'm doing this. I'm pretty new to Kashrus and involved with Rabbonim on this level, but I jumped right in and we started. So when I started, there was basically the job was just a title. There was no office, there was no team, there is no operation. How we starting? So for a few months it was discovery, and then we opened a temporary office on Empire Boulevard for the summer. We worked over there, and started to work on the both direction, the CHK and the Beis Din, understanding that both organizations are in critical shape after years of being mistreated or treated with little support and so on. When I came with the CAV, I'm involved from before with some other Meisdes, with the Good Talmidei Akvutze and the Yeshiva in 770. And the CAV is about Avas Yisrael and to love every Jew, especially our neighbors. And coming into this, getting a lot of, seeing a lot of people with history and with some issues that in the past, and the goal is to work with it to work carefully, to resolve everything with respect to everybody, and to solve issues as they come. What we did with the CHK is starting, we had, let's say like that. The CHK was, we had about 70 establishments. Some of them were paying, some of them were not. Some of them paying very little. This was the first source of income for us. And trying to put this together, and once we started to organize that, we started to pay the Rabbonim on a consistent manner. I'm not going to keep you long with this, so we're going to go into the sessions of questions and answers, but I want to say that in the CHK we did, we got together in office. We have now operation. We have a phone number that you can call to. We open up a website. You can go online, chkosher.org. You can see it over there. We have the establishment over there. We're working on standards. We're working on relationship with other Kashrus agencies as well. We opened up new establishment. We opened up wineries, bakeries, and some others. I get to learn every time more and more. We have the team that work in the Kashrus, which is Rabbi Greenberg, Levi Greenberg, which is the chief senior of the Shechita operations. We have Rabbi Kirschenberg, which is a rabbinical coordinator in Crown Heights, and we have Rabbi Levertov, which is a senior rabbinical coordinator and an ingredient expert. Also, we hired another person to work with the CHK, and together with that, we started to work on procedures, processes, and make sure that everything works in a transparency and visibility so the Rabbonim can give hechsher clearly. About the Beis Din and the Vaad Hakohol, about the Beis Din and the Rabbonim, the situation is, everybody knows the situation. We have two Rabbonim. This is about 2 years, a few years from COVID. And there is a conversation about new elections. That's something that we work together with the Vaad Hakohol, the Netzigim, and the Rabbonim, and hopefully we'll have election coming up in the upcoming months. Election alone is not enough. We need to strengthen the Beis Din from more directions. 3 Rabbonim or 4 Rabbonim alone cannot handle what the Beis Din is required today. I want to share with you that we recently switched the phone system and changed the greeting to make accessibility better for the people. And right now, when we started to see the numbers, we see that we have about 300 phone calls coming in every day to the Beis Din. That's aside from messages, aside from emails, aside from walk-ins that come into the office. This numbers just shows how central this institutions and this operations to the community. Like before me, Shmuley said and Reb Mendel said, without the support of the community, this cannot be built. This is not a for-profit business. This is a community effort. And I would like to invite everybody to support the Rabbonim, to make sure the Rabbonim are getting paid on time. And not only the Rabbonim getting paid, we can add more Rabbonim and hire more to handle the volume that comes in. Beside that, we have the plan on the Beis Din is to build more departments. If it's a Beis Din, Dinei Mamonos, if it's Gittin or all other departments that necessary for the Crown Heights. That's come together hand with the community support and together with all parties, Netzigim, Vaad Hakohol, and the Rabbonim themselves. I want to thank you everybody for coming in tonight and looking forward to respond to your questions. Thank you.
There are still a few seats in the front. There's a lot of people standing in the back. Don't be shy. Come sit down. We're about to start the Q&A. Before we begin that, I just want to thank everyone for coming. Baruch Hashem, start off slow, nice, big, full crowd. Please ask the questions respectfully. We'll answer respectfully. Try to limit it to one question. There's a lot of people here, and we want to give everyone a chance. Is someone going to go around with the mic? Yeah, the mic. Okay, and depending on what the question is, I will try directing it to the person I think can best answer the question. Does anyone have any questions I should ask, say, before? Is there a sign-in sheet? No. Easy one, I like that. Any other questions? Maybe you could introduce yourself so we know who's asking the question.
Okay, name or the question? Okay, better need a speaker city need more quality light at night. No good light at night in Crown Heights. Okay, it's better Eastern Parkway, maybe Empire Boulevard, that's it. Montgomery, no good. Crown, no good. New York Avenue, no good. Is danger include in snow? People possibility respond floor, no good. Need much better light.
So is the question, what can we do to get more light?
Yeah. More quality.
He's saying we should. I agree. But I'll take the opportunity to bring a larger point. There's been times where people have said, let's say, the Vaad Hakohol is not there. We only know of the issues that people bring up to us. Every issue that I know about that someone brought up to us was addressed, was forwarded to the proper person, was looked into. Like I said in my original speech, we can't always promise success, but if someone brought up an issue to a member of the Vaad Hakohol, it was always moved on forward and looked into. So it's something that I will look into and see what can be done about more lights. Maybe Rabbi Cohen knows if there's someone that we could speak to.
We actually had Ray,
The DOT, yeah.
our commissioner of DOT a few years ago, talking, and recently also a couple of times speaking about the lighting. The city has certain standards for lighting on residential streets, on commercial streets. A lot of credit to Schoenberg Goldstein, who did a lot to improve the lighting on Kingston Avenue, which is very important. And with regard to the side streets, most of them are pretty well lit compared to the city standard. But if there's specific places where it's very dark, or certainly if lights are out, we could definitely refer that to City Hall. We get a lot of support here from Uri Frankel from the mayor's office, who's sitting here. And he's so good that they kept him on into the new administration. So we want to give him a lot of thanks. A lot of issues that we've brought to the City Hall in the last little while, and Uri has really helped us. So we want to thank him too.
I definitely second that. Uri's been a great help, a very big asset to the community within the mayor's office. And we're very happy that he's staying on in the new administration. And just to point out, like this question and other similar questions, now that we've expanded our operations, Rabbi Cohen's title and job, Director of Advocacy, is built on these kinds of issues. So if an issue comes up, you can bring it to any one of us. We'll speak to Rabbi Cohen. If either ourselves will deal with it or Rabbi Cohen will bring it up. He usually knows who the right person to speak to and can get it done. Thank you. Let's go.
Shalom Aleichem, Hillel Raskin here. As an immigrant to Crown Heights, there was a lot of needs that I needed, starting from green card, food stamps, WIC, whatever it was, and walking into the community council pretty often trying to find the answers. I got a little bit of the employees were a little older, a little less tech savvy, and a little less in a mindset of, let's try to help you how yes to get it. You don't qualify, and that's it. Versus, this is what you need to do to qualify next year. Or this is what you need to do, send us the documents, let's figure out how to make it work. So I'm working with the JCCs in Borough Park or Williamsburg that are more responsive, quicker. I'd love to find my place here back. If you could give us an input on that. If the staff is going to be a little younger, a little more text. There was no WhatsApp. They asked me to fax them things. It was, that's where I'd like to know if something like that changes, because right now when my friend comes to ask me, where do you get your stuff, I'll refer him to get their Medicaid by someone else and get their foods, and then I guess our community loses the power of service.
Okay, first of all, thank you for your question. You said you're a recent immigrant? How long ago? 6
years now.
So I don't know if I could address your personal situation, but I get your overall point. I'm going to ask Mendel or Mirazov to speak. No, because some of it still applies. He has a fair point.
Short answer, and there's a short answer and a long answer, okay? The short answer is that every situation is different, every individual is different, and every interaction is different. The long answer is that I'm actually zooming out now of all the services we provide and all the service providers we have, and to create some sort of unified system that when someone comes in, there's going to be a list of questions to ask that individual, and I said it a little bit up there, that even if we're not capable, for whatever reason, of providing that service right now, we could refer to someone else. And the objective is to keep the clients home rather than wanting to go somewhere else. So we're aware of this situation. We're going to fix it as best as we could, and hopefully the proof will be in the pudding.
I will add, it's an issue that the board takes very serious. I mean, you could ask Rabbi Cohen, you could ask Rabbi Mirazov how often we bring it up to them, the fact that we have to expand our services, we have to improve our services, we have to make it easier. So I think we're on the right track. I don't know if we're quite there yet where we want to be. And I hope we continue going in the right direction. Anyone else? You got a question?
Hi, my name is. Okay. My name is Eitan Kalmowitz. This is going to take a second, but I promise it's in the form of a question. So there are two things that were said by people, not directly you, but in your orbit, which are relevant to the question. So first of all, almost 2 years ago exactly, in public on the Zev Brenner show, your predecessor, Zaki Tamir, said that he made an announcement, which was very surprising to anyone who heard at the time, that in a few months we're going to be having elections for Vaad Hakohol, followed a few months later by, I forget which we had first, but elections for Gaboim 770, and then elections for a third Rav. To be honest, I don't think anybody believed even the first one, that the first one would happen. So that I think it's like what Rashi says about the king of Stem escaping miraculously, that once the election for you guys actually happened, then people started believing the other ones would happen. But obviously, no progress on either of those since then. There has been, I think, a few of the people who have spoken that have touched on that. And then also, I was told by a friend who is a Netzig that at the Netzigim meeting that happened in this past Elul, that it was announced that in Cheshvan, there are going to be elections for a third Rav. Now, I believe we're holding now in Tevis. He didn't say Cheshvan of which year, so it could be his Cheshvan of Tafshin Tzadik Tes. But I get what it comes down to is that because there are all these grand plans, what actually has to happen in order, what things need to be met in order for each of those elections to take place? Because we're now, the Gabayim Semzendi are now in their 16th year of a 3-year term. The Rabbanim, we're now, 6 years of having only 2 Rabbanim on the Beis Din. You get the idea. So what criteria have to be met? What do we, as a community, what are we looking to see to say, oh, that happened, okay, now we should be looking forward to an election?
So I'm going to partly answer, and then I might turn it over to someone else. So first of all, regarding the Gabayim, I'm not going to answer. I don't know if we are the ones to call for Gabayim 770, for elections for Gabayim 770. But I will speak about. You never heard it from us. But you did hear about Rabbanim from us. So I don't know. I never heard a specific date for election for Rav. I know that it's something that we are working on continuously, meeting. How often do we meet, Mendel? Once a week, maybe? Once every couple of weeks to further what we need to. Now, you have to remember, for many years, the Rabbanim weren't paid, from the Vaad Hakohol at least. So you have to establish credibility before you go hire more Rabbanim. So the first thing we had to do was pay the Rabbanim, the current Rabbanim, their salaries, which I mentioned, Baruch Hashem, we've done since we got in. The second thing I want to say is that we want to do an election, we want to do it right. Without getting into too much detail, I don't know if any other, if Crown Heights has had an election for Rabbanim that went b'shalom, that was nice and peaceful and just worked out great. We don't want that. We want it to be in a peaceful way, as a reflection, by the way, of when I said in the beginning of my speech, about how united we are, and b'shalom and ba'achdos. And I think the community, by the way, is in a much healthier place than possibly ever. And it is a good time to remind everyone this is 40 years since the original elections for Vaad Hakohol and original elections for Rabbanim. And I think we're in a very good place. We don't want to ruin it. We want to continue on that. So it has to be done right. So that's why it's just not being like, oh, let's do elections, pick a date, Zion Adar. We're doing it the right way, and it will be done, but it's going to be done right. I'm also going to ask Mayor Bushin if he wants to add anything. No. Does the Nitsigim want to add anything? We have several Nitsigim here. Anything you want to add? Mendel?
I want to add one. I'm sorry, Moshe. Give me 1 second. I just want to say reiterate what Rabbi Rosenstein is saying a little bit more, which is that if we're going to have 3 Rabbanim paid in full, we're going to need $150,000 per Rav. So if you add that up, it's $450,000. We made a Vaad Hakohol drive, and Baruch Hashem, like Shmuley said, we brought in a grand total of $75,000. So number one, we need to make sure that we have the funding. We can't promise a guy a job and ask him to put his heart and soul and put 20 hours a day into a community if he's not getting paid bedoichik what he needs to live, which is 150. So number one, we need the community support, and we need to have the infrastructure to push it, pay the Rabbanim and their staff, like Rabbi Buchner was saying, that it's not only Rabbanim that need to get paid. If a Rav is going to do his job, then he needs to have people under him, fielding the calls and running a proper, like Rabbi Brian told me right when we came in, he said a whole day he's spending because his internet is not working, he's trying to figure out how to fix the internet. Because there's nobody here it's not fair to ask a Ben Taita like this to get involved in these things. And number two is, like Shmuley said, that if we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it right. And we have to do it in a way that's peaceful, and we need to get everybody's buy-in, and that takes time.
What's your confidence this year? I heard you say a couple times this year.
Because we have made progress, and we've moved forward. So I see it happening this year. I can't promise. I'm not putting a date.
2026.
You don't think it would be useful to update the community on that progress? Because we've heard nothing.
I'm updating. I think I just did.
So I'm sorry. So to answer your question directly, I want to say, number one, we need to come up with the money, and number two is we're going to have we are closing on a Vaad of community leaders, Rabbanim, Askanim, that are going to be the Vaad of this election Once we're confirmed with that, then we're going to go ahead and find the candidates to run with the election, to run for the election, and then we're going to announce the date of the election. So those are the steps of how exactly it's going to be, Emir Hashem, within the year.
And now someone from the Nitsigim will also speak. Yes.
Okay.
Introduce yourself. It's on it.
Hi, my name is Moshe Berghoff. I'm a representative or a member of the executive committee of the Nitsigim. Everything that was said is very accurate. We're working diligently to put forward this Vaad of Askanim and Rabbanim and Nitsigim and the Vaad Hakohol to combine together, to work together b'shalom, to create this mitzias of an election for another Rav in our community. And it's a very time-consuming process. There's another aspect which was not mentioned, which is that the bylaws of the Vaad Hakohol and the CHJCC have not been edited or updated in many, many years. In fact, they were not even formulated by lawyers, possibly not reviewed by lawyers, we're not even sure. But we're going through a process to update and modernize the bylaws so that there's a structure, everyone understands what it is, the responsibilities of members of the Vaad Hakohol are supposed to do, what it is. I mean, we didn't get into the details of the Rabbanim's responsibilities or the responsibilities of the community to the Rav. So there's a lot of things that have to be sorted out in a legal way and in a very formalized way so that things can proceed b'shalom to create an environment where there's no room for anything else but shalom. And I want to thank the Vaad Hakohol on behalf of the Nitsigim and everyone else for doing an amazing job and working together with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, I want to wish a mazel tov to Mayor Nu, who after just a few hours having a baby, is sitting here to see the community and hear from him. And well, you had a baby.
She had a baby.
And a girl. And I think this is a mirror of what you have here. You have 6 people who don't get paid, they volunteer, and I said in my speech, I don't want to sound redundant, but over the last 18, 19 months have put in hundreds, probably thousands of hours into making this community better, healthier, stronger. That's it. There's no other goal. There's no other motive, just to help the community. So again, mazel tov, and thank you for coming, Mayor. Any other questions? Any ladies have any questions? It was on Mayor's job duty, and he had a baby today. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tufia Tadek. I live in East Flatbush, by Troy, by Rutland. So I have a big question about One Vital New York. I think it's called all the supportive housing that's coming in. I think it's about 11 buildings in like a 4 or 5 mile area. We already have 2, it's mostly by Utica Avenue. 2 huge towers went up, one opposite the other, about 12 floors. And when they say supportive housing, it's homeless. It's people, young men who've aged out of the foster care system with a lot of needs. It's mentally needy individuals, incarcerated individuals have a mental disability. So you have a real, and then it's senior citizen housing. Also low income, which is at up to a certain amount. It could be 1% up to, I think, half. So all that 11 buildings is going to really change the community. It's saturation, in my opinion. You don't find it anywhere else in the city. And I'm really concerned about the safety. I've been a resident there where I live for about 25 years. The safety of the residents, the social service needs. And I've been to some of the earlier meetings in the public school on Empire Boulevard. And I really felt that everybody was really not taking this community serious, to be honest. No knock on anybody. There were meetings in the planning stage on Friday night. They had state representatives almost smirking and laughing, saying, well, we came to the community all the time. And I feel like from the outside, I'm not inside, that the politicians don't really take it seriously around this. This is like being steamrolled because it's millions of dollars. Catholic Charities is behind it. There's private and public housing. So my question is, and thank you, I want to commend you for the letter you wrote. I read it. I know. I think it's a big stand. But do we have really plans to, whatever still hasn't been built, to fight it or modify it as has been done in Queens? They modified certain projects because the community came out. So that's my question.
Thank you for the question. He's talking about the homeless shelters. First of all, I'm your neighbor. I live on Midwood and Troy, so it's not like I live on President and Brooklyn. It's something that we have to fight. I didn't make enough copies for everyone. I don't know if you pass out. These are just copies of letters that I written on behalf of the board to, I think I have 2 letters copied there, one to Letitia James and one to, Jay, remind me the name, Brewery, how do you pronounce it? What was another one? Brewery? Pure? I don't know how to pronounce the name. Yeah, Gail Brewer, but yeah. Saying that the community does not want these shelters, does not support it. So far, we haven't been successful. I think one thing, first of all, let's go back a drop. I think this passed many years ago. I think Governor Cuomo was still the mayor the governor when it passed. We're still fighting it. I think we might have to, one way I see that could work is if we pull off a move similar to what we did to the bike lanes, a massive community voice fighting against it, while also speaking to the political powers that be. And that's where we're holding with that. Maybe Mayor has anything to add on?
I want to say it's a very big topic and probably one of the most important topics that pertains to our community. I'm late, so I don't know who said what, but I do want to thank Mr. Jay Sard for the hours and hours and hours that he puts in. No one knows why. Leman, our community, honestly, he should be sitting up here with us. He should have an honorary seat. So hands off to Jay. But I just do want to say, there is a lot to say, but one of the ways that it came to be this way is because our representation on the community boards was not what it should have been over the past 15 years, which is why I exhort everybody, and this is also going forward, we have deadlines coming up within the next couple of weeks. If we want our voice to be considered, we have to air our voice. We need to be sitting on these boards. It's a 6-hour-a-month commitment, 2 nights a month, 3 hours each time to sit on a board. They discuss land use. They discuss who opens up marijuana dispensaries in our neighborhood. They discuss many, many, many important, where are we going to put bike lanes. We need to have, right now, I think there's, I don't even know if there's any from a Yidden on Community Board 9 or Community Board 17, maybe one. Not very few.
How many show up?
Sorry?
How many of them show up to vote?
Either way, but we don't even know what's on their agendas. We were working to present a new plan for the bike lanes, and they were supposed to, we don't even, it turns out we met with them today to discuss what we're going to be putting forward to the city, and they had already submitted a plan 2 weeks ago, which we were trying to get ahead of, but they got ahead of us. And the problem is that we don't have anybody there. We don't have eyes and ears even. So if there's anything that you could do for the community, and by the way, this is not just men. This is women, too. It's very, very important, and it's a very, very doable thing. So this is also, so like you said, these meetings were held on Friday nights. These were things that technically speaking, if we had presence over there, if we had proper presence advocating for the needs of the community, then it's something that we could maybe undo stuff in the past because we could issue letters and stuff like that. And the current administration, you could say what you want about it, but one thing that they pride themselves on is that they're grassroots, is that they're not establishment, is that they're for the people. So if the people come and clearly the community board says something and they go and fly in the face of that, that looks terrible for the current administration because their whole backing, their whole political stance is one for the people. So it's very, very important, crucial that we use out Community Board 9, Community Board 17. And the same thing is our politicians. in a very respectful way. If it's just me or Shmuley or whoever it is that's reaching out to them and saying to them that we are against this project, okay, whatever, fine, we'll this, that, we might have to deal with it. But if they're getting hundreds of letters, emails a day, respectful letters saying, we need you to stand up for us. We need you to voice our issues in the council, in the state assembly. They will listen. They will listen, especially because they know that demographics change and numbers grow. And it's very, very, very important for us, not just here, whoever's watching, whoever you have an influence, to encourage and exhort them. First of all, to make sure that you're reaching out, sending emails, get the email addresses. If you want you through the office, we can help you find those email addresses, send letters, express yourself, say what you want. People can't hear our voice if we're not saying it. And the second thing, and maybe more importantly, is that we must get people onto community boards so that at least we have a seat at the table.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor, 100%. And we'll get to everyone. Did any ladies have any questions? Yeah, she said she's going to help you with that. Yeah, come on. Yeah, let me get the mic. 1 second. 1 second, the mic is coming. Yeah, Jay, I'm going to get back to Jay now.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for holding this forum, and I just want to say Yasha Koyach to all the people, the board members, to Ellie Cohen, who has worked tirelessly for this community for decades. I actually work with Ellie Cohen. My name is Arna Lipkin, and I worked in government about 18 years, like on and off, for a couple council members. So on that note, I'm piggybacking, excuse the expression, on what Nutta said, is that there's I always wanted to do something called Civics 101, okay? It's very important to understand who does what for your elected officials. For example, the city council takes care of city issues. The assembly and state takes care of state issues. So the issue you were just talking about is in regards to the state. It started with Assembly Member Diana Richardson. She had a name to this project. I can't remember exactly. One Brooklyn, something like that.
Vital Brooklyn.
Vital Brooklyn, right. So this started maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago. So the point is, if you're going to write letters to elected officials, it would be, for this issue, it would be the state, your state elected, that is Assembly Member Brian Cunningham and State Senator Zelnor Moye. To tell you the truth, there was actually a non-Jewish woman that kind of took upon herself this issue at the community board, and she's very vocal and very eloquent as well. They're just not moving because the two electeds right now, it's like a done deal kind of, and they don't seem to want to move. But on the other hand, I think what Mayor's saying, if they are getting like lots and lots of mail, especially because it's coming up, I believe next year is state elections. Coming in June is the primary. So that this is very Kadai now to write about this. Again, like you said, has to be done respectfully. Dear Honorable Senator Myrie, dear Honorable Brian Cunningham. You can also look up their chief of staff. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. And in general, someone brought up lights. It's important when you have an issue to know under whose jurisdiction these issues are. And generally speaking, the community board is a great place to reach out. You can do you can call 311, get your number, call the community board if you have an issue with your lights, call the community board if you have an issue with sewer, whatever. They funnel all those issues. That's like a one-stop shop, and they're actually very good. Dante is the district manager. The chair is really nice, and their staff is really nice. They're very, very helpful. Just also keep in mind is you have community board 8 this side of Eastern Parkway. 9, and then you have 8 as well, but we're primarily community board. And last, I want to say, city council, it's important to know who is your member. We have 3 city council members that are part of Crown Heights. We have Darlene Mealy from Utica, and that way also with the East Flatbush community. Then you have Crystal Hudson, which is most of Crown Heights, and Rita Joseph is like Prospect, Lefferts Gardens, etc. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much. And I'm gonna get to you, go to Jay, and I'm gonna ask Jay to continue a little bit the discussion of the shelters.
Okay.
Just a couple minutes, yeah?
Okay.
Keep it short.
Hello, my name is Jay Sorid. I am not Lubavitch. No surprise. I'm from America. So basically, I volunteer here out of just a sense of helping out fellow Jews. I've been doing it for the past 10 years. I'm also a member of the Kingsbrook Shul, where I went to the Kingsbrook Shul. And part of the reason I'm here is Zalman invited me over his house for around 2 years for Friday night dinners. So Zalman's the reason you blame for me being here. So I just want to mention, I've been following this for like around 10 years. To be specific to the point, where we are right now, okay, there's two ways to do it. It's great to ask, say nice things to these assemblymen and everybody else. I know there's a certain cultural thing of how people act. The time for being nice is over, okay? And I'll tell you, because the politicians, and let me tell you what to do. Here's where we are with the project right now, to be specific. Right now, it's all done. Everything is done. It's up to the last thing where Letitia James has to sign off on this. However, they have a problem with 681 Clarkson. There's a problem with the deed. You see, the deed has this thing called the right of reverter. And what that means is the way it's structured with the second general plan is that New York State owns it. Because there's a right of reverter and they want to sell it to a developer, it goes back to New York City, because that was in the deed from like 1908. So in the general plan that's online, it goes from New York City now to New York State ESD. So it's the city giving it over to basically New York State Empire State Development. The problem is that under the Uniform Development Corporation Act, Section 14.2, which I've been telling everybody for the past year, I've been telling Assemblyman Cunningham, I've been telling Rita Joseph, okay, who's not responsive at all. Assemblyman Cunningham, not really fighting as hard as he can. And I've been telling everybody, you have a right to a city council public hearing. Right now, it's a bunch of political cronies. New York State Empire State Development controls it. And by the way, the governor could snap her fingers in a second and change the whole thing the way you want it to be, just like she did in Creedmoor. Creedmoor, she incredibly changed the whole plan. You see, the governor appoints almost 6 out of 8 of the New York State Empire State Development. You tell the governor, listen, we want the same type of plan that Creedmoor got. Every single unit in Creedmoor has a parking spot. The amount of homeless in Creedmoor is around at maybe like 10%. The governor made massive changes, okay? So there's, what's that? She did it because okay, the way that the community did it is there were a bunch of co-op organizations. So what they did is the assembly people, the New York State legislators in Belrose, Queens, fought like hell. They opposed it like hell, okay? They were very tough. And the community said, we're not going to stand for it. And they decreased everything. There's a very difference in terms of the percentage. You guys have between 30 and 50% homeless. In Queens, it's the same New York State Empire State Development, and they have a psych ward. Theirs is 10%. Everybody gets a parking spot in Queens. You have 1,080 units, no parking, okay? Plus a whole bunch of commercial. 9% is the home ownership that you have. 9%? In Queens, it's 50%. And the woman that I speak with, Cheryl Bernard, she got one of my letters. I just spoke to her on the phone. If the black community and the Jewish community compare both what's going on, the governor can change this in a second. She made major changes, okay, major changes. She does nothing for you guys because your New York State Assembly and legislators do nothing, okay? That's point one. Point number two, there's a legal issue. Right now, I UPS'd and emailed New York State Attorney General. This thing has to go to a city council public hearing. It absolutely does. Because what happens is, as I was mentioning before, the UDC Act, Section 14.2, says that if real property is transferred from New York City, from a municipality, over to NYSESD, you have to have a public hearing to approve it. It becomes city property, you have to have a public hearing to approve it. And you need the council vote. They don't know what to do. They supposedly got the financing. They're not talking about it or anything. Now, Chair Shmuel Rosenstein was very, very brave and very responsive. We wanted to get the Attorney General out here to say, hey, listen, what about this issue? Look at the difference between everything. Shmuel signed a letter, and he gets a lot of credit, asking the New York State Attorney General, Letitia James, have a community impact hearing. Listen to people. I got Community Board 9 working with other people. Benny Rosenberger, by the way, is on Community Board 9. Very strong Lubavitcher guy. Benny sticks up for the community and everything, so you've got a very strong Lubavitch guy who does it, okay? And there was a motion that was brought, I think Benny brought it, and it passed. So the community board says to Letitia James, can we have a community impact hearing, okay? And then the Crown Heights Jewish community says, can we have a community impact hearing? She does it for different groups. She had it in Westchester to talk about Donald Trump. She had it at some Catholic schools. She said, could you come here and do it, okay? She didn't have time. She didn't have time. James, that's voluntary. So she turned us down. She sent a letter saying, I don't have time. She has time to campaign for Mandami, but she doesn't have time for you guys, okay? That's point one. But let me just tell you, what you have right now is they don't know what to do with this community, public community, the city council hearing. They don't know what to do with it. Because if they dare do the deed, they said they got the financing on December 18th. Normally it takes five days in Akros. They still haven't recorded the deed. They still haven't recorded it. If they do, what you guys should do an Article 17 proceeding. You get 4 months, and you'll shame them, okay? So that's one way. When it gets to the city council, then you could say, you know something? All of these hearings, the public design hearings, they were all on Saturdays. All of the public engagement meetings by Diana Richardson were on Saturdays. After those public design hearings on Saturdays, the rest of the meetings, which they invited you to, that was a dog and pony show. That was just environmental stuff. It was a done deal. The Jewish community was discriminated against. And you'll get some lawyers who'll say, hey, listen, you exclude us. Is this not New York City human rights law where you're excluded? There's federal funds there. How about, this Title VI question, okay? UPS, the Attorney General, I've been telling everybody, Shmuel Rosenstein was very brave in sending off a letter also to Gail Brewer, the city council on oversight, to say, hey, listen, what's the answer? What's the answer? Is there a public hearing or not? Because right now it's just decided by a bunch of cronies, New York State Empire State Development. Governor Hochul controls those cronies. She could do in a second say you don't have a job, okay? But that's basically what we specifically should do. Letitia James and Rita Joseph, another winner, okay? She's the city council person. She's not only the city council person for the project, but she's on the committee for oversight. Rita Joseph is ignoring us, okay? In terms of power, I would just humbly suggest Vita Brooklyn should be a campaign issue. I will do everything I can to make it a gubernatorial campaign issue where Governor Hochul can explain why she's treating the Jewish community like this. And I'll go to Blakeman, and I'll ask Blakeman what he thinks about this also to make it a campaign issue, okay? And the second thing is you guys should realize what goes on in Crown Heights, the whole Jewish in New York State sees. When they advertise for different people in the U.S. senators and New York State, they all have a picture with Lubavitch going to the OHEL. If anybody messes with this community, you don't realize how powerful you are. All of New York State, this should be a Jewish issue. And I'll tell you, if I can just...
One more minute, yeah.
Jay, do you want to maybe stick around after and let people who want to talk more about it hear?
I'll end it, but I just want to say something for the camera. I'm just going to ask, give me one...
30 seconds.
Okay, you got it. The Kingsbrook Shul was never supposed to be it was never supposed to be destroyed. Governor Hochul didn't do anything. Okay? It was nice that she said, I'm not destroying it. The documents that I handed out to you, it was never part of the plans. There was a letter of agreement saying you can't destroy the shul. Period. Plus, you guys were excluded from it. There wasn't anything done. Governor Hochul could do a lot. And the last thing I'm telling you is all of Kingsbrook Jewish. It should be a Jewish historic district. The paper I gave out, you guys, it should be a Jewish historic district. And I just said you were excluded from a decision because they were all Saturday meetings. And I'll just say last thing. Diana Richardson said we need 200 units. If you take a look at the 43rd Assembly, you don't have it here. It says what the community needs are, okay? It says 200 units. They already have 200 units in the Utica Crescent. It's a historic district. There's a case called Long Island Friends. It's It's called Cypher Doctrine. If they're going to close it, it should go back to the original mission, which was for special needs Jews. This whole thing should go to the Friendship Circle. And you guys should fight like mad.
Sounds good.
You need a huge audience for some lawyers who volunteer, okay? And you should make it public, and you should be tough with them and say, you took away our district. It's a Jewish historic district. Weeksville is a black historic district. How come Kingsbrook, isn't a Jewish historic district?
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for
You guys are doing great.
thank you for everything you're doing to help. We only have a couple more minutes. I promised Rabbi Gerlitsky that he'll get a question.
Hi, my name is Vaad Hakohol, in case nobody knew. My question is, it says in Allah the city needs different things. Sorry about Tony, Baruch Hashem, we have that, but we also need a reife. Dr. Feldman passed away. I think Dr. Rosen's already in ODA, not even so active. I don't shy away from controversy with urgent care closing down, but we need a proper family doctor in this community.
100%. I don't know if it was a question. Do we need a doctor? I hope. I mean, again, we were.
We want to encourage you to go to medical school.
I think it was very sad that urgent care closed down. I hope another place opens up. 100%. 100%. Is there any other questions? Last question. Okay.
There is
two
a
more.
new mace that opened up in Crown Heights this year. It came from out of the community, and it seems like the priorities of this mace is more for the revach, that the mace gets over the chinuch that they're giving over to the children or the taking care of the staff that is in this mace. Is the Vaad Hakohol involved with this mace anyway? Do you know the way? Do you know what I'm talking about? Or do I have to say the name? With I grab a finger?
I would like
it's
to
called
talk about
Cheerios.
that.
It's down the block. It came from out of the community. And the priority is the profits are making over the chinuch for the children or for the staff members.
So first of all, I just want to give a disclosure. My daughter goes to Cheerios. So I'm very grateful to Label Halpern and the fantastic program that he does there. That being said, we did have a meeting with Label Halpern where we gave him 6 points where he was supposed to sign on. A number of them were who he's going to be hiring, what's the nature of the chinuch that he's going to be offering the community, which rabbanim he's going to be consulting with about the chinuch of the community, etc. And also, where's he going to be giving tzedakah to? Because he's going to be making a lot of money off the people in his community, which is essentially something that a Lubavitcher wouldn't make, whatever it was. But he should give at least part of it to back to the community. He has given some tzedakah back to the community. I think I know for sure with Simchas Beis HaShe'eva, he gave a nice check, but we're still waiting for him to sign that document. And if he's watching this, Label, please do the right thing, and sign the document, and give it into the Vaad Hakohol.
There was problems, particularly with the Kashrus issue. They were bringing food from Williamsburg, I don't know. It was coming, it wasn't taped, there was no label, there was no stock on it. That was, it was figured out. They also were planning to start inflation. I wasn't without inflation.
Okay, so I mean, this is for any new establishment coming into Crown Heights, it's par for the course until they figure out exactly how to do it. But Rabbi Meir with the CHK is doing a phenomenal job, and anything which seems to be an issue, bring it to the forefront. They handle it very efficiently and very well and with heart and with kavod. So,
was there anyone?
I just wanted to back up because I don't want it to be misconstrued in terms of the previous question. Just to highlight that Dr. Rosen has spent a lot of time and years providing a lot of effort into the community, and he still does on a regular basis. So give him a round of applause. As well as the ODA that is here. Could there be more? Sure, but they provide a very large medical center to the community as well. So if there's more people who want to go to medical school and help the community, that would certainly be something that would be appreciated. But Dr. Rosen and the ODA do provide a value service to the community, and him in particular, for many years.
1 second. Let's get people didn't get a turn yet. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. My name is Michal Pius. I'm a Nitzik representing Anshe Moshe. Just want to say a tremendous thank you for everything you're doing. It's very exciting. Looking forward to the improvements. One concern that's been echoed a lot in the people that spoken to me since I've shared about this event is the concerns about how we can properly support the Rabbanim financially, giving them financial and emotional space to do what they do for the community. Particularly, there have been stories of people going into Rabbanas during internships and ultimately having to go into other fields because they just aren't able to support themselves and their families doing that. It was mentioned that there was the community membership drive, which raised $75K. It was also mentioned we need $450K to support at least 3 Rabbanim, but we need much more. So just having more transparency and a better idea about what I, as an Atzig or as an individual in the community, can do and where we currently are in the progress and the status. And if I would want to get involved, how can I improve and make sure we have the foundation to be able to provide financially and everything else for the whole system? What can we do, and can we be better informed about that going forward?
Mayor Bookstrom, can you?
I'll just start off. I mean, we mentioned something before, but the community has Vaad Hakohol, which is the responsibility of every member of the community to contribute towards the Rabbanim. And as an individual, each person can join and contribute. And if you're involved in your shul, your community, have other people be a part of it as well. It's a grassroots effort as a starting point. So everyone in this room and everyone that you know, if everyone was a contributor to Vaad Hakohol, we would probably be far along in our ability to be able to pay the Rabbanim on a regular basis. That's what the Rebbe instituted. That's how it was set up. So that's not all, but that's a starting point. Mayor, did you want to add something?
Is there anyone else that?
I wanted to say one thing. When we were doing the campaign before the elections, one of the old members of the Vaad Hakohol got up and was clogging that, when he was on the Vaad Hakohol, they never paid the Rabbanim. So I just want to say, I know it was mentioned before, but you don't realize what type of monumental feat Rabbi Meir Bookstrom, Meir Halevi pulled off here, that the Rabbanim have been paid in full for the past 8 months. Kenai Nahara with Nisei Neflois. It wasn't easy. 8 months running now. The Rabbanim have been paid, Baruch Hashem. And, sorry. Will there be a financial report released to the Nitzigim? And if the Nitzigim want to release, I mean, it's public companies. It's 990s, so yes.
Okay, I think we're going to take one last question, and then everyone could, we'll stick around. And go ahead.
Hi, my name is Yochai. I am a not so recent immigrant to this community. I wanted to ask about information. I'm sure you are. It's been some time since you've been elected, and I'm sure you're doing a lot of work. But I was a group that has a message about alternate side parking. I really don't know what's going on and what are the updates, resolutions, things that can that we can hear about, and also give feedback. You mentioned that if we have something to say, we need to step forward and say it. But I'm not sure if there is any platform for that. And the second question is about a spokesperson, because many things happen in Crown Heights. You go and speak in the name of the community to news outlets and stuff like that. And I think that a body like you that is elected from the community is going to be the best representative to do such a thing.
So, I mean, the second point, I don't know if it was a question, but I would say I agree with you 100%. And I think, ideally, and I understand why it happened, because I think for a long time, the Vaad Hakohol maybe was, not around, so other people came and in the vacuum, but ideally, the people that should speak on behalf of the community are the people that were elected by the community, which is the 6 people sitting up here. We have a WhatsApp group. We have our website is we have a website. It's going to be totally updated. Coming out, launching I think in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. First of all, all of our emails are public, and you could email us anytime. Most people even have our, it's not that hard to get our phone numbers. Yeah. Yeah, board at CHJCC, or each person's name, first, MNU, Okay, we'll finish with our Goldstein, and then people could stick around if they want.
Finish the formal.
First of all,
He's getting his mic.
First of all, thank you very much for the Vaad Hakohol for your backing and support to helping Kingsbrook Shul, forward. And Mirz Hashem, we'll be very happy to host meetings like this in a beautiful big shul. It's a beautiful open space, and it'll be a big benefit for the community as soon as we can push it through all the way. That's number one. Number two, just to mention, someone mentioned about transparency or so on. I, as a community member, would be very happy to contribute towards the community. There's nothing more important for me. Baruch Hashem, Crown Heights supports all the Chabad houses and many mosques across the world. What can be greater than supporting our own community? Amen. I think along with it, what might be helpful, given the history that the community had, imagine twice a year a report comes out and says, from the buildings that the community council manages, this is how much comes in and this is how much expenses were. We're actually in a deficit. We're hoping in 2 years money will come in from that. From this grant, we got this, and this is what it was spent, and so on and so forth. Hashkacha brings in X amount of money, and we're anticipating it's going to grow, and as we establish ourselves more, food establishments will take us, we'll have more income. When people you don't have to give an exact, but there should be transparency to some degree. Not that every bacher can go and sit and critique why they spend $10 there. That's not the point. But once you have that, that'll motivate people to be part of it and to give. Because people do want to give, and everybody would like to give. They just want to know that it's actually going where they want it to go.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much for everyone for coming. Thank you. Have a great night.